Right, is that any better? Slightly ironic on a session on recording. Oh dear. Can you see and hear that all right, ladies and gentlemen? How's that? How are we doing? Oh dear. Is that any better? Do let me know. I've just said hello to all of you. It was the most emotional and the most heartfelt hello. I can't even repeat it. It was so gorgeous. How are we doing? Here typing. Good. Yay. No reason for that to happen, ladies and gentlemen, apart from the fact I've been clearly changing settings and the mixing desk decided to crash. Well, that's definitely a great way to start a session led by an expert on recording and sound, isn't it, folks? Oh, dear. Anyway, lovely to see you all. I hope you're all having a good day. And I will say hello to all of you because you've all taken the time to comment. So hello to Virginia, hello to Val, hello to Terry and Susanna and Sue and Shan and Ruth and Nikki and Michael and Marion and Lindsay and Lisa and Linda and Kathy and Gareth and Karen and Julie and Judith and Jill and Jean and Jane and Jane and Homechoir. And hello Glennis and hello Liz and Dorothy, who's a genius. Hello to Dave and Jill. Hello to Cynthia with the purple hair soon. Hello to Christine and Carolyn and Angela and Anna and Albert. And there we go. Lindsay, if you could refresh. Good. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. But this is the thing when you're trying to do stuff with technology, as we will discuss, you can never rely on it to be to do what it's supposed to do. But anyway, hello to Maureen as well. Let me just catch up with your comments. Fabulous. Marvellous. How's that all going? For some reason, my comments haven't caught up either. Hello to Gloria, who's bought a new iPad. Oh, lovely. Only 3 Janes. Oh, fantastic. Do you think he's trying to tell us something subtly? No, not at all. There's nothing subtle about it. We could make a song out of the greetings. I think it could be a bit of the maybe the Major General song. I'm just trying to think what key is in that. We could have some fun with that one. Anyway, hello to Carla. Hello to Jill. It's great to see everyone. Hello to Faye as well. Fabulous. Hello to Nikki. There's Jennifer, Alison, and Philippa and Sue and Deborah. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Well, I was about to say I need to do a sound check, but we've already kind of done that. The piano works. Can I just check, ladies and gentlemen, if I just... can I just try something here? Since it's probably... having set up my workstation here. Can I just check that everyone can hear that song? Here we go. No, we can't. That's a pain. So let me just sort that out. Output device there. Let's go multi-output device. Can we hear that? No, going to restart GarageBand. It's not like it needs to work or anything for our session. Can we hear this? Do, 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 do. Fingers crossed. That sounded kind of positive. There we go. Does this work? First of all, can you hear my voice? Is there some nice reverb on my voice? It sounds kind of reverby here. And can we hear John Kanaka?
I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka till
Can you hear tomorrow? John Kanaka? Do let me know, please. Fabulous. Yes. God, I had this all set up and it was perfect, and then the sound just decided not to work. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is your first lesson on the guide to recording. Don't ever expect it to work the way it's supposed to. Hello to Jill. Hello to everyone. Choir friends doesn't normally turn up for Homechoir. Fabs. Oh, yes, says Jane. Good. Is the keyboard handy? Shall we just sing? Don't worry about that. All's going to be well. Dorothy said maybe Ben used his sledgehammer. No, really, what this is everything, in order to get it to stream through this software that I have here, it's all just got to work. And when it doesn't, there's nothing to do except turn it off and turn it on again, which is the most important piece of tech advice you'll ever be given. If it's not working, have you tried turning it off and turning it on again? And I know they've made a big joke about it over the years on various TV programs. It is still, without doubt, the most common fix for any tech fault. Turn it off, turn it on again. That's what I did. I just restarted OBS and it all worked. So there we go. When you know Austin are watching, says Gloria, you're exactly right. And I can't tell you the number of times that happened to me exactly like that in the middle of a lesson or just before a lesson. I had everything set up and the Ofsted inspector walks in and the computer crashes without fail. What is it? What is it? Speaking as an engineer, absolutely true. Exactly. Percussive maintenance, absolutely. Except I can't really do it. It's a bit on the expensive side. So yes, I'm going to do that teacher thing. Where I'm really glad that happened. I'm really glad that happened because it allowed me to show that it happens to everyone. Yes, says Nikki. No, I'm more Roy. I'm definitely a Roy. Hello. Have you tried turning it off and on again? No, I'm not Moss. I don't think I'm Moss. I don't think so. Dear Ben, if you missed the beginning, I know nothing about recording. Jane, no, that's absolutely fine. And you'll find in a minute's time when we start, today's session is aimed really at everyone. Well, it's not aimed at professional sound engineers, for goodness sake. This is aimed at those who are complete beginners and those who consider themselves to be, gaining in enthusiasm, gaining confidence. So please don't worry about today, everyone. This is, if you just want to sit and watch and kind of go, oh, that's interesting, I'm never doing that. That's fine. And some of you may learn a couple of things. Some of you may learn literally just one thing. Others of you might be there taking furious notes. It's entirely down to you how you want to access this session. Remember, there's no singing to be done today from your point of view. This is all about the learning. So thank you ever so much, everyone. And some wonderful comments today. Not surprising given the way the session has started. Well, I think we should start officially. Now, do keep chatting, and I'm going to be glancing at your comments a little bit more than I normally would be in a Homechoir session. I tend to just let you talk about cakes and gardening and so on and sharing your lives with each other. But today, if you have questions as they come up, do please write them in all caps for a start. Please don't write open the box. That just sets me off. But speaking of which, my wife, who is watching at the moment, she said, can I have your driving license? I need to do a financial thing. Yes, of course. She then shouted at me, your driving license expired 6 months ago. Oh, no, wait, it's in 6 months. I've only just recovered from that, ladies and gentlemen. The heart rate's only just returned to normal. Anyway, keep chatting. If you've got questions, please ask me. But thank you so much for your lovely comments. Thank you, Charlotte. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And I've had your questions. I should be answering them in our session. So let's click across. Welcome, everyone. This is a Homechoir presentation. And before we start, I want to announce a very, very exciting project that we're going to be working on over the course of the next couple of months. Now, obviously, as a choir, we've recorded 3 pieces, at least with me. So some of you have recorded other ones with Kit Kat. Actually, 4, I think, if we include Happy Birthday. But those projects have tended to be quite large and taken a long time, primarily because they have involved video files. And I'm sure many of you realise video files and audio files are very different. Video files tend to be massive and tend to take up a lot of space, and they take a long time to process. Audio files tend to be much, much smaller and are much quicker to work with. So we've decided to try a different kind of recording project. Okay, and I'm announcing this now. And in case anyone's thinking, oh, I'm not going to do that, that's why we're doing these recording sessions over the next couple of weeks to hopefully increase people's confidence and increase your enjoyment of the recording process so you can take part in this thing that we have planned. So this is the plan. I'm calling it Third Time's the Charm. And we're going to start what I want to call effectively live recording sessions. So the way this is going to work, and we're starting this in 2 weeks' time, okay? The first thing you do is you watch the teaching first. Okay, so the first piece we're going to start recording is going to be the Cantique de Jean Racine. It's by far the most requested piece we've had on the channel. And of course, we taught that over a year ago. So for those of you that want to take part and you want to record, you'll watch the teaching first and make sure you're happy with everything. And Julie has done a wonderful pronunciation guide, which completely supersedes everything that I tried to do with my terrible schoolboy French. Bear in mind, I was taught taught French by by a wonderful chap from Mauritius who had a very, very strong accent, and I myself am from Essex, so my French is not so great. So you'll have everything you need. You'll watch the teaching, then we'll release those a week in advance. On the day, so 2 weeks time, we will have a recording session in this time slot. So at 2 o'clock, everyone will arrive, and I'll say, if you can, please have your recording device ready, and then I'll tell you to press record. Okay, and you don't need to worry about it again. You just press record, and then I will guide you through a recording session where we will sing the piece 3 times at least. Okay, from beginning to end, and I will conduct each time, and then there'll be talking and, you know, a bit of jollity in between and laughter and ha 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 ha. And you won't stop in between. You'll just record for half an hour or so. Okay, and at the end you press stop, and then you send me the audio file. No edits, no listening back. No, I just want to check. You know, if you coughed in the middle of it, doesn't matter. I'll show you why in a minute. You send me the entire audio file. Okay. No editing, no retakes. And you will see why as we go, folks, because really you don't need to worry about that kind of thing. The most important thing is to just get that sound out. And it may be that the first take's not great, but the second take's better, or that the start of the first take's better, the end of the second take's better, or the third take is, as I say, third time's the charm. So that is our plan, and this is all very much designed to hopefully help those of you out there who are a bit unsure, think, oh, it might be, I'm a bit scared of it, a bit worried about it, or I work too hard. You perfectionists out there who do 30 takes, 40 takes, you know, this will hopefully reduce your stress. Now, you don't have to watch along live. If you don't want to do this, if you want to stick with your present recording method, you can, of course, do that. All right. So we're going to start this in 2 weeks, and this is the plan. This is our schedule for the next few weeks. These are the pieces that have been chosen. Sorry, that's a little bit. Drat, that's not going well. Let me just, well, you can see it says Cantique de genre scene. Cantique de genre scene. The following week we'll record I Waited for the Lord, then we'll record O Nata Lux, bit of Va Pensiero, then there's a 2-week break because we're going to have a little break for half term, then the Bach Salute Deo, the Ode to Cheese, and John Kanaka. So these are going to be the first of a series of pieces that we're going to record, and of course we're not going to have our quarantine chorus in this time slot. We're going to be recording instead, everyone. All right. So Dorothy said, will this all be at 6 a.m? That's a really good question. Of course, you can watch along at any time. So by all means, come along at 6 a.m, bless you, with your cup of coffee. And I say, right time to sing, you say, no, it's really not, Ben, you know, and drink your coffee. But then later in the day, when you're ready, the session is there for you. And I think the key is just to remember, it's not about doing it live. It's about capturing 3 performances at least in half an hour and sending me the entire thing. Okay, and then what I'll do is I will combine them all in the studio, and if I align everything with that point that you've all clapped for me and so on, I can then chop it up as I need to, and as you'll see, we can create all sorts of magic for that. All right, everyone? So that is the plan. Now, in order to support you on that and to make sure people are feeling more confident, welcome everyone to the Homechoir Guide to Recording Part 1. There will be another part to this next week. Now, recording is not in any way compulsory or even necessary to be part of Homechoir. Homechoir is this program, is this channel, and Homechoir is very much about providing you at home with whatever kind of singing you want, whether it is full-throated, full-voiced, annoying the neighbours kind of singing, or whether you don't sing a note and you just enjoy the sound of somebody having a nice time, chatting with friends, and having a sing. All right, it's entirely up to you. But if you do decide that you want to take part in a recording, and of course this could be for one of the other ensembles that they're out there, the stay-at-home choir, of course the self-isolation choir is doing a lot of recording, or for your own face-to-face choirs. This is for everyone. So do please share this widely. Now, the first thing I want to say with recording, and this is absolutely vital, and I used to say this when I was a specialist music technology teacher for South Gloucestershire, for the whole county, the health and safety aspects of recording are very, very serious. And all joking aside, please be really, really careful when you are listening back to things, when you're using headphones, when you're using microphones. There are things that can cause hearing damage, particularly if you're listening back to things that's too loud. So just be really careful with volume controls. If something's too loud, obviously take the headphones off straight away. A little tip when you're listening back to things that you've recorded, I tend to have my headphones here so I can just be certain certain that things aren't playing back too loudly, and then maybe put it on one ear and that kind of thing. Having earbuds that go all the way into your ears can, if you're going to get feedback or something, just be really careful as you're using these. When you see an instruction on, if you're using, for example, a sequencer like GarageBand or something, GarageBand, if you see something called gain, leave it alone. It's boosting volume, can potentially be dangerous. Also, just take care when you're using microphones and cables. Make sure everything is secured and taped down if possible. Trailing cables can cause trips. They can cause your expensive computer to go flying off the table and smash on the floor, or you can cause a horrible fall, horrible accident, and electrical equipment can also, of course, be very, very dangerous. So I know it's tempting to have that cup of coffee next to your computer as you record, but please, just everyone, be really, really careful as you record, as you use electrical equipment, as you would with any other appliance. All right, folks? So just bear in mind. Thank you. Leslie says, I like the fact you can only see sleep. Eat, sleep, quiet, but this is very much what I'm craving at the moment. Okay, so this is our outline for today. So this is a little guide, as you can see. Before we start, some suggested kit. And I've got 3 levels here, really, in terms of suggested kit. For those of you who are keen beginners and just want to record with their phones, I've got some guidance for you. Those of you that are thinking about maybe getting something like an external microphone, recording with a computer or a tablet, definitely got some stuff for you. And we will briefly talk, everyone, about the 3rd level, which is the sort of the home recording guru. And to be honest, we're going to look more at that next week. All right, the advanced techniques, the really geeky stuff. Okay, so before we start, before you take any recording, folks, just think to yourself, what am I doing this for? Why am I taking this recording? Okay, am I a solo artist producing my first album with the aim of getting a Grammy one day? Am I multi-tracking for fun? Am I just like some of us have done recently? I've had some wonderful pieces from Susanna, from Michael, from Dorothy, from people who've put their voices together and have created something really exciting. Is it for fun, okay? Or are you recording as part of a large online choir where you're going to have hundreds of other people all singing together? Because each of those will have a different set of requirements and really a different level of engagement from you. If you're recording for fun, well, it doesn't matter if you sing a couple of notes wrong, or if you come in, if you cough in the middle of it. If you're producing as part of an online choir, you're going to want to reduce that. And of course, if you're just producing your voice, it has to be perfect. All right. So just bear in mind, have a think to yourself, and really that's your starting point, because that should, I think, dictate the level of quality that you're after and the amount of fun that you want. And I would always say, when you're recording as part of an online choir, it's definitely towards the fun side rather than it has to be absolutely perfect if possible. So the first thing to say is, when you're recording, just as when you're singing, don't stress about it. If it doesn't go right, take a deep breath. Turn it off, turn it on again, okay? Don't throw the device across the room. Don't start swearing at it. Don't start... because all that will happen is your voice will lock up. You'll find yourself making silly mistakes that you wouldn't have made otherwise. Don't stress, relax, okay? Treat it like an opportunity to do something fun rather than something you have to do. And if you're in that mindset, I have to get these recordings done, then maybe take a step back. Maybe don't submit every movement. Maybe submit just one take, that kind of thing. Give yourself time and space, because as I very capably demonstrated, the more you overcomplicate things, the easier it is for it all to fall over, okay? Now, the 3rd thing that is important when you're recording a piece of music, and it sounds obvious, but please know your music, everyone, all right? Cynthia's asking, I need to open the box. What have I missed? Let's have a look. Cynthia, have I missed something? If you've got a question, please let me know. I can't see it in the comments. All right, but if you've got a question, let's have that. Yeah, so knowing your music is important. If you're there sight reading or trying to record, it's the same as if you turn up at the concert and you're trying to sight read. Consider taking a recording in the same sort of sense as performing, but not necessarily in front of an audience, maybe the last rehearsal before a concert. Think of it at that sort of level, all right? So know your music. Use a quiet space if you can, and I know some of you have really struggled with that. Jill, you know, the struggle with wildlife outside your window. Here it's police helicopters and sirens. Patchway and Thailand have huge amounts in common in terms of noise levels, but not necessarily the things that make the noise. If you can't find a quiet space, c'est la vie. It doesn't matter, but get to the quietest space you can. And if possible, if you can deaden the sound in your room by hanging a curtain or singing in a room with lots of soft furnishings, everybody, then thank you, Julie. Then that's going to improve the sound, because you don't want a great big echoey sound when you record. That's to be added later on. You want your voice to sound relatively dead, and I don't mean that in terms of just like this. I mean without a lot of reverberance, without a lot of echo, because then that can then be worked with later on. All right, so that's just general tips for everyone, and some further tips really in order to help yourself. Lots of people are saying, how do I know if it sounds good? Well, use your ears. I know that sounds slightly patronizing, but really you have to be given permission. You have great ears. Oh, thank you very much indeed, Ben. Thank you very much. But actually, you know what sounds good. Okay, if the recording sounds muffled, well, consider, what am I doing? Where is the microphone? If you're recording on a phone and it sounds muffled, is the microphone pointing towards me, or is it face down? Does the room sound really echoey? Is it over recorded? Is it unrecorded? Listen back. Use your discrimination, use your ears. I would always say, when you're listening back, listen back with headphones rather than on the speakers on the device, particularly with a phone. Bear in mind that the speaker on a phone is going to be about the same size as a thumbnail and isn't going to sound great, particularly low frequencies. So use headphones, be very, very careful of volume levels. I would always, say, everyone, that you would need to, I've just seen the comment about opening the box on the music stand. Thank you for the explanation. I see open the box and my heart rate increases by 20%. So chilling out. Yes, when you're listening back on headphones, you want to hear everything, all right? And then make adjustments. Don't just think, well, that's good enough. If you think you can improve your setup, well, then make adjustments, take another sound check, and then so on. And then here's a really important tip, particularly if you are sharing your space with other people, you don't want to have a permanent recording studio set up in the corner of your living room. Maybe your partner wouldn't appreciate that. Take a photo of your setup, so you can see exactly where everything is, and you can get it out the box later on and set it up again. Okay, now Charlotte is saying, I imagine the mic on the phone is the bit at the bottom with holes in it. That's a really good question. I will get to that in just a minute. Okay, that's a really good question. That is coming up on the next slide. Thank you, Charlotte. And the other thing is to have fun. The whole point with this is it's play. Don't think of it as work. Think of it as play. Okay, and the moment you start thinking of it as work, it becomes onerous, it becomes a task, it becomes another thing to have to do. Think of it as, I get to sing. Yeah, in a world where singing is banned, I can still sing with my friends. And so think of it like that, okay? And I'm speaking as somebody who's worked with now tens of thousands of recordings from all around the world. It is always a delight to receive a file, and it might have some errors on it. It might have a lot of errors on it. But at the end of the day, it's wonderful to have somebody who has taken the time to record their voice and sent it in. And I always, on my recordings here, I always use every single recording. Now, Jade is asking, what headphones do you recommend? Again, this is up to you. I personally like over-ear headphones. I know they don't look desperately elegant, but you do have, it gives you, I think, a better sound. In-ear headphones, the ones that go right into your ear canal, these sort of buds, I don't like those for recording, because if there is a bzzz or something in your setup, you can get these off really quickly, as opposed to buds where you've got to potentially hurt your ears. So if you're going to record, I would suggest over-the-ear headphones. You don't have to spend a lot of money. I was in the bargain supermarket earlier on buying cat litter. What a glamorous life I lead, ladies and gentlemen. My wife and I, a romantic trip for two to buy a cat litter box. And they were selling over-ear headphones in there for £5. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. Great question. And Ruth is talking about USB microphones. We'll be with you in a minute on that. So let's click on. So suggested equipment. So the first level, as Sue has already said, this is the KISS principle, everyone. Keep it simple, silly, all right? Don't overthink it. If you're new to recording, well, why not just use your phone, okay? Most phones will have a voice memo app of some kind, all right? That's the iPhone version. And you press record. La, 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 la. And then you can listen back. La, 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 la. Okay, not brilliant, but it'll do. and you just use the voice memo app. Now, it may be that if you have a tablet that doesn't have one built in, you can get one from the App Store. They have them on Android, they have them on iOS. Both the iPad and the iPhone have these built in. If you don't have it, if you just type in voice memos on the App Store for the iPhone, you can get that on it, and it's free. Okay, now the advantages to this one: easy to use, very quick. One button, record, one button, stop. And then there's the share button, which is the box with the arrow in it, which is basically send this thing out of this device. You click that and you send it. All right. So no mixing required. You don't need to know anything about how the sound works. You've got it recorded. It's there. It's done. Very, very straightforward. And then it is very easy to send those files. It's also going to create quite a nice small file. It's not going to be gigabytes and gigabytes of data. It's going to be relatively teeny tiny. Now, the downside to this, I mean, the controls are very basic. So some of the stuff you'll see very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, you know, some of the stuff that I do with the software is actually really quite fun and quite engaging, and it lets you produce more interesting recordings and producing your own choirs and things like that. You can't do that on a voice memo app, but that's absolutely fine. And there's no option to what's called punch in, and we'll look at this in a minute, but this is where you've spent 10 minutes getting a really good take, but you've fluffed one particular part. Well, you can't get to that part and just sing over it, but you can with the next method I'm going to show you. So that's entirely down to you, folks, and you'll see in a minute, you know, if there are little errors in your recordings, or even big errors in your recordings, the engineers can do marvelous things. All right. Now, and also the other thing to bear in mind, and just to answer your question from earlier on, the mics on these aren't brilliant, but as has already been said, what you'll find is on a phone such as this, and there's Bobby with his school project, there will be microphones usually either at the base here by your mouth when you speak, and there's often another microphone up here by the speaker. And so basically, in short, if you're recording with a tablet or with a phone, you want to make sure that the screen is facing you as you sing. And other than that, it's as simple as that. Now, some people were saying, can I use a microphone with my phone? And yes, you absolutely can. Here's a couple that I just found very quickly today on Amazon. As you can see, the one at the top here, this is a full kit, and it comes with a little adapter that goes into your phone. And it's about £30. You can spend less, you can spend more. You can see one down here, which is a Shure microphone, and this is over £100. This is a big investment, but that plugs straight into your phone and turns your phone into a high quality recording device. It's entirely up to you. It will work beautifully with voice memos, and it will just mean that the overall sound that you capture is of a higher quality, because of course in a mobile phone the diaphragm, that is to say the microphone, is teeny tiny, and if you make a big sound it's going to distort slightly. If you have the facility and the funds to get yourself a little microphone that plugs into your phone, well, then you're going to hear a better quality of product. But in the end, as I say, I've had recordings sent in that sounded like they were recorded on a potato, and it still sounds good when you mix it with everyone else. All right, so that is that first level. Those of you who are recording on your phones. Now, in terms of getting a better sound, as we've said, find the mics on your device. And one way to do it is to just press record, okay, and then tap up and around your phone, and you will see quite quickly, you'll be able to see where the peaks and the troughs are, and you will find, well, it was loudest when I was tapping down the bottom of the screen, so my microphones must be there. Next thing is, don't stand too close to your phone, all right? And don't hold it in your hand, as I just did. Prop it up and have it maybe a few feet away from you. The closer the mic is to your face, the more chance there is of you over singing and over recording. And we'll talk in a minute about what that means, everyone. Ruth said the eye potato. Excellent. Okay, so don't stand too close to it. These modern devices are very, very good at capturing sound in a broad range and then compressing it down to a narrow focus, and it'll sound fine. All right, you can prop it up. Now sing towards the device if possible. Some people are saying, well, what about page turns? Well, turn the page as quietly as you can, just as you would in a big acoustic. I always say to choirs, it's always so obvious when the choir haven't been taught how to turn pages, because in the middle of this lovely locus iste, it sounds like a wave crashing. Treat it as you would with a concert. Turn the page as quietly as you can. If you're going to take deep breaths, if you're singing into a microphone, here's a tip: turn your head and then come back, if you can remember to do so. But for the most part, it really doesn't matter. Charlotte's asking, does it make a difference to have the volume level high or low on the recording? Well, if you're listening back through headphones, no, it doesn't. If you're recording on your phone, no, it doesn't. That's the speaker. The recording level is usually dictated by the voice memo. So you could have the phone on mute and still record. All right, good question. Now, and the other thing is, when you are singing along, please remember, and a few people have struggled with this, when you are recording, all we want is your voice. We don't want any of the backing track that you're singing along with. Not a shred of it. So ideally, if possible, you're going to have, if it's me on Homechoir, you're going to have the guide track on one device with your headphones, and then you're going to have your recording device just capturing your sound. So you're hearing the backing track, and the recording device is hearing you. Okay. Now, one suggestion for that, in order to help, is to have one ear off, so you can hear your own voice coming back to you in the room, and you can hear the backing track in this ear. Okay, that will help an enormous amount. Okay, I promise. If you can't hear your voice when you record, if all you can hear is the backing track, you don't have that instant feedback of, no, I'm a bit flat, I'm a bit sharp. So that may help those of you who are recording at this sort of the keep it simple silly sort of level. Okay, so that is level 1. Okay, and those of you who are recording on your phones, I've seen this wonderful project that Self-Isolation Choirs launched today, this Duke of Edinburgh project where everyone's going to sing Eternal Father, Strong to Save with their phones. Have a go. If you've never recorded, have a go. It's free. Have a look at the choir website. Now, let's go on. Now, those of you who are level 2, the keen to captures, okay, now you might be using a device such as a tablet, something like this, or a computer, could be a PC, could be a Mac. I'm obviously on Mac here, with an external microphone, okay, something like this. And you will probably be recording into something like Audacity, or into GarageBand, or into Cubase, or Cakewalk. Cakewalk is a good one to look at on the PC because it's free and very similar to GarageBand. Now, the reasons that you might want to do this, these will be people who are feeling confident and starting to grow in confidence. So there's a huge improvement in quality. You can punch in. I'm going to show you a bit of that in a minute. That is a lifesaver when it comes to doing long recordings. That's how I recorded all these backing tracks for Messiah. They are absolutely not continuous takes. You can also multi-track yourself, and this is huge fun. Now, if you're using an Apple device, GarageBand is there on the phone, it's on the iPad, it's on the Mac, and you can do a lot of the techniques you're about to see on that. The downsides, it is harder to deal with. You've got to get your head around inputs and outputs. So this is obviously an input, this is an output. You have an extra cable to deal with because you've got the microphone, and the potential for frustration is substantially higher because, as you've just seen, why doesn't it work? But if you can persevere, you can get some fantastic results. All right. Now, let's have a quick look. Here are some microphones that those of you who are looking to buy external mics to use with a computer, you might want to consider. These are better quality than the iPhone ones because they are going to capture a wider range of sound. This one I found today, this is a full set. This is what's called a Cardioid Condenser. Now, a cardioid microphone, just very quickly, is something that will capture the sound in front of it in a sort of heart shape, hence cardioid. And that is quite useful if you do live in a place with lots of background noise. It's not going to capture sound coming from behind it or from the sides. It's going to capture the stuff that's in front of it only. And that's why broadcasters use cardioid or even hypercardioid mics, which have a little bit at the back as well. This set at the top has what's called a pop shield, or as it says, a pop filter, and it's just that little bit. It's basically stocking fabric, but it just stops the pops, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. And it comes with a little sort of a little adjustable arm, which again, if you have the facility to set up in your room, well, you can just attach it somewhere, and then you can draw it in and move it around as you need to. The one at the bottom here, this Rode little NT USB, this is the one that I use for all the Homechoir recordings, and it's portable, it's fabulous. It was quite expensive, as you can see, but you know, I use this every day, all day, every day. It's a fantastic little mic, and you can just set it up anywhere. It's been dropped already, it's been dented. It is a fabulous thing. All right, so let's talk about how we can get a good result. Those of you who are already perhaps working with an external microphone, first of all, make sure you set up in a quiet space. I know that sounds obvious, but if you're using a good microphone, it's going to potentially pick up more than your phone would. It'll pick up external noise. It'll pick up the hum, maybe, of the lights in your room if you record in the same room as your heating, or if you've got children in the house, or pets, or if you've got, I don't know, some cicadas in the garden, for example. You know, consider, if you can, setting up in an even quieter space than you would do for a level 1 sort of thing. Now, making sure that you don't stand too close to the microphone, but don't get too far away either. You don't want it to pick up that sort of echoey sound. And if you've got a cardioid mic that's picking up that sound in front of you, well, then you want to be close enough to be captured, the sound to be captured, but then consider using a pop shield. Okay. When I was teaching A-level music technology, I used to say to the students, get yourself a wire coat hanger and a pair of old tights. Boys would say, well, I get one of those. And then just stretch the tights over the coat hanger and put that in front of the microphone. It works just as well as a pop shield. If you can use a mic stand, that's ideal, or a stable surface. Now, we're going to talk about how to punch in a minute, but you will really, you'll find that very beneficial if you're using a piece of software that can capture the sound, and then you can go back and just replace one word or one phrase. It's such a time saver and so enjoyable. And then this is just one thing. If you have the facility, and not everyone will be able to do this, but as you're recording, if you can listen to your voice with some reverb on it, that's why I quite often do this, and I say, right, I'm going to have the acoustic of Patchway Cathedral. I can hear more feedback of my voice, and that helps me stay in tune for the most part, and helps me get a better sound. But then we remove that reverb before you send it in. So let's move on from there. Now, this is level 3. And this is for people who have stuff like this. Now, this is the microphone that I use every day when I talk to you. As you can see, it's an Audio Technica. It's a P48. It's a professional standard microphone. It's not quite as expensive, anywhere near as expensive as the most expensive microphones made by Neumann and so on, which are thousands. This was £100 or so. It's connected via a cable to a mixing desk over here, and a compressor and all sorts of other things. Now, if you have the facility to do this, you probably aren't watching this video. It requires money and patience and many more cables, and huge potential for frustration when it doesn't work. And I'm not going to be talking to you folks this week. We're going to focus mainly on level 1 and level 2. But just to say that if you are at this sort of stage, well, as I say, you probably don't need to be watching this video. Now, everyone, regardless of where you are in your recording expertise, if in doubt, consult Google or YouTube, this wonderful place that we all meet so regularly. Now, if you want to find out about how to use a piece of software, name the piece of software. So how do I add bars in GarageBand iPad? How do I record my voice with reverb? How do I remove reverb? Specific questions, naming the software and what you're looking for is much better than how do I get the sound off my computer, because you'll struggle, I think, with that. So if possible, say, just put in Apple, iPad, GarageBand, reverb problem, and you'll get more support than just a sort of general help sort of question. All right. Now, I've got a couple of quick bits of just a glossary here for those of you, because I'm going to use some of these terms. I've got about 5-10 more minutes of the session, folks. So if I refer to a DAW, a DAW, that is a digital audio workstation. That is something like GarageBand. That is something like Logic or Cubase. It's the software that we use on a computer to record and process the sound. Obviously, a mic is a microphone. Reverb is an artificial delay. It's this. which creates a sense of space. So it sounds like I'm here, I'm in the bathroom, and now I'm in the cathedral. That is all artificial. That is reverb. Now, Jill says, why are you recording with reverb if you're going to remove that bit? It's for you to improve your recording. Okay, so if I'm recording and it's doing a bit of Messiah, I want to have my backing track, but I also want a little bit of reverb on my voice so it sounds like I'm there and I can hear without it there's no feedback for me to listen to and make those adjustments. When you then send it to the engineer, they don't want that reverb on it because it can't be removed after it's been baked. Okay, when you send the final file, when you send that MP3, it's like baking the cake. Okay, you can't take the eggs out once you've baked it. So the reverb is for you when you're recording, and then before you send it, you take the reverb off and you send them the sound of you that sounds like you're recording it in a broom cupboard. Okay, that's a great question. Now, let's just a couple more of these. I'm going to talk about EQ. This is equalization. This is where you boost and cut the various frequencies of a recording. Panning refers to left and right, and gain is boosting the volume artificially. Now, these are two things you're going to want to watch out for, folks, and I'll demonstrate these in a minute. One is called clipping, and if you sing too close to the microphone, it will distort, and you'll be able to see it. You'll certainly be able to hear it, and it can't be removed later. So you've got to be careful. This is one thing that you mustn't do is to clip your recordings. And the other thing is the pop, and I've mentioned pop shields. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to click over now to the GarageBand. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clear this out. This is one I prepared earlier, and I'm actually going to clear it out. Lovely. And so this is a sequencer here. As you can see, this is my favorite. This is GarageBand. And I'm going to add an audio file, and I'm using this. Okay, hang on. I'm just going to turn this thing off. Bear with me a second. So I'm using my microphone here. And if you can see on the screen here, as I move closer, and you can hear it, it's getting really quite muffled. I sound like I'm a commentator. And it's coming on the phone. Now, the further away I get, the quieter the sound gets. And you can see the levels here. It's lighting up in green. And if I get closer and closer and closer, it gets yellow and red. And if I move it away, the level drops and drops and drops. Okay, so I've got myself a microphone. Now, if I sing too close and I record too loudly, it's going to clip. And watch, this is what it sounds like. It's not very nice. I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka Tulaye. Okay. Jane's asking, what is an MP3? How do you send files? Okay, very quickly. The MP in MP3 is short for MPEG, which is the Motion Picture Entertainment Group. Okay, and they in the late 90s got together as a team. This is all the major motion picture studios, and they established what's called a codec. This is basically just a way of taking a recording and squashing it down so it doesn't take up as much space, because full digital audio takes up megabytes and megabytes and megabytes of space. Now, the first codec was just called MPEG. The second one was called MPEG-2. The third version, which allowed files to be shrunk down from 50 megabytes to about 4 megabytes, was the third version, and they shortened it to MP3. And we're currently on MP4 for video and audio. There will be MP5, MP6, and so on. So it's an instruction to the computer that gets it to say, this is how you unpack this file to make it sound as if it's a full quality file, but it only takes up a few megabytes of space. I hope that kind of explains it. Now let's have a quick look here at what we've recorded. Now you can see, if you look down at the bottom, some of these are little peaks, but you can see the tops and bottoms of the peaks have been cut off. They have been clipped. This is a terrible recording, and if you send this in, chances are you're going to be buried in the mix somewhere. You're not going to be heard as clearly as others because it has been it's been clipped. And the reason is you were too close or you sang too loudly and the microphone just overloaded and it distorts. So that is clipping. The other thing is pop. Okay. So Peter Piper picked a peck of popped recordings. It comes from the plosive sounds of you making sounds at the front of your mouth. P and B are the prime suspects. So move away or use a pop shield. Now, I'm aware of time, folks. I don't want to take up all your afternoon, but what I do want to do is to show you how you can use something like this and an external microphone to capture a good recording. Now, the first thing you need is your backing track. Now, if you're recording on your microphone and you've got your backing track playing, you can just record straight into this. So I could press play and I could press record here. And I'm listening along and I sing, I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie, and so on. All right, and that's fine. And I can see here, excuse me, I was going to turn that off. I can see I've recorded it. I can listen to it back. And I sing, I thought I heard the first mate say. Okay, and that's fine. At the end of it, you can just click share and send it on, and that's fine. Now I'm gonna suggest you do it a different way, because this is the way I do things. If you can get hold of your backing track as a sound file and put that into your recording studio first. So here is my John Kanaka file. Now this is the Homechoir recording. Let's have a listen to it.
I thought I heard the first mate say.
Okay, now getting hold of these files is often quite difficult. For all of our recording projects from now on, I'm going to release the original recording for you to use and to drop in and to sing along with. A little sneaky tip though, if you can't get hold of the recording, if you can't get it as a file, get your phone, get your device, play it out on one and record it with your phone. It's extremely rough, but you will capture whatever it is that you want to record. You can record it just over the air. Okay, if you don't want to have to buy an MP3, if you don't want to have to get it by other means, you can literally just record with your phone held up to a speaker. It's really rough, but don't worry, no one will ever hear it. Once you've got your backing track into your sequencer, in whichever form, this works on tablets, this works on PC, this works here on the Mac, then you can start having fun, because now I can see exactly where the recording starts. I can see it starts there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sing along, okay? And I'm going to do a whole load of tracks really, really quickly. Here we go. I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie. Today, John Kanaka to lie. To lie, oh, to lie, oh, John Kanaka to lie. Okay, now it was a pretty good take, but there are a couple of issues in there. I don't know if you noticed. I think I'm coming down with some as a cough and a sniff and a couple of thumps. We won't worry about that for now. I'm going to add another track, and I'm going to record again. And I think this time, just because I want to create a multi-track, I'm going to sing a different part. I'm just going to have a bit of harmony going along. I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie. You'll work tomorrow, but not today. John Kanaka to lie. To lie, oh, to lie, oh, John Kanaka to lie. All right. And again, I'm just going to do this really quickly. I'm going to add an alto part. And you see, because I can see what's happening on the screen, I can see when it starts. You can start to see the different ways for different sounds. I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka. So visually, I've got a little guide to where the notes are landing. Let's do an alto part. I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie. You'll work tomorrow, but not today. John Kanaka to lie. To lie, oh, to lie. John Kanaka to lie. Right, and just one more. Let's just do the tune, straightforward tune. Here we go, back to the beginning. I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie. You'll work tomorrow, but not today. John Kanaka to lie. Okay, now just because I want to speed up, now I'm going to mute the original track and have a listen. This is what we've recorded live. Here we go.
I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie. You'll work tomorrow.
Now, bless him, that bass is not very well. So what I can do here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just snip that out because I can see where the problem was. I'm going to snip that out here and remove it. And so,
you'll work tomorrow.
Oh, even the sniff. I'm going to get rid of the sniff. Lawrence Cummings would be proud. Let's get rid of that.
But not today.
So you can see we can cut all these bits and pieces out. And so just this, hopefully, I think, makes it clear. For those of you sending recordings, if there's any extraneous noise, we can get rid of it as simply as that. I can see straight away where I'd put in those thumps. So I'm just going to snip those out. And it's not going to have an impact on the recording, particularly when you've got lots and lots and lots of voices. It's not going to matter that people sometimes there's a note or there's a beat missing. Now, those of you who are keen multi-trackers, I'm going to talk in more detail next week about what we can do with stuff like this. But I was talking about punching in. And so let's just do a little bit of punching in now. So I'm going to just go along to this and we're going to hear, this was my first track.
Say, John Kanaka
And then I coughed, didn't I?
Today.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the playhead here and I'm going to press record. You'll work tomorrow, but not today. And that's it. And now if I press play.
John Kanaka to lie. You'll work tomorrow, but not today. John Kanaka to lie.
And it was like it was never there. So one tiny thing before we finish. Give me just one more minute, dear folks. I know some of you, your heads are spinning, and please don't feel bad about that. I've bombarded you with a lot of information today. The most important thing with something like this, though, is that you can see it's possible. You can see that with, and this software is free. If you've got an Apple Mac, it's free. It's on all the devices. Cakewalk on the PC is similarly free. You can also get Cubase, and you can learn to use it. As long as you can see it's possible, you can get to the point where you can start using this. But for those of you who are already doing this, let me give you a couple of little special tips and tricks. This is what I call the dark arts. Okay, this is how you want to create the sound of a choir. All right. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to pan my choir. So I've got one to the left. I'm going to pan the next one slightly to the left. This one slightly to the right. This one slightly even further to the right. So let's listen now to my four parts. Here we go.
I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie.
It's not bad. Still sounds a bit naff, and that's because it's four lots of the same voice, all recorded on the flat. So for those of you who are happy to, down here we've got what's called EQ, and all EQ does is it boosts and cuts the different frequencies, the low frequencies, the mid frequencies, and the high frequencies. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just ever so slightly tweak each one slightly differently. So the first one I'm going to move to there. This one I'm going to move slightly more on the low and maybe cut the mid and boost the high a little bit. And so you just tweak the EQ just a little bit on each one differently, okay? Ever so slightly. You don't need to do big. This is like chili sauce, okay? Hot chili sauce in your food. A drop or two will do. And so there you'll get the voices will interplay differently. Here we go.
I thought I heard the first mate say.
And finally, a bit of reverb on all the voices will give you the sound of a choir. Hopefully, he said. Here we go. And
I thought I heard the first mate say, John Kanaka to lie.
so from I'll just turn off the acoustic there. So from a backing track, which is not playing at all, I've got a 4-part choir there in about 5 minutes. Now, I do appreciate I do this a lot. It's taken a lot of practice to get to this, but it's all using free software. It's using a simple microphone. This, you don't even need to spend anywhere near as much as this. A straightforward microphone into your device, and then using a piece of software. I would suggest Audacity is fine, but it's very, very, very basic. You can't do this, the kind of stuff I've just shown you on here. Have a look at the PC equivalent, as I said, Cubase, Cakewalk Studio. If you want to find out, have a look for free DAWs, free digital audio workstations, and you'll find all sorts of things out there that may be of use. So everyone, Thank you very much indeed for your time today. Thank you for your patience. It's been quite a long, very technical session, and some of you, your heads are spinning, I know. So I do thank you. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to go back there. There we go. Now there will be a part 2 to this, and we'll be talking next week about what I do with the files when I get them from you, and how I create these big sort of multifaceted recordings. And if you have any specific equipment, everyone, that you want to ask me about, or anything you think, actually, how do you do that, or how do I improve this, please send us a question. All right, you can send it to Anna@homechoir.uk, and she'll then send it through to me. She's brilliant at doing that. And just enjoy yourselves. Remember, the most important thing, as I said, everyone, is that it is supposed to be, where was it, in that first page? Not that one. It was this. Don't stress, relax. It's supposed to be fun. And at the end of the day, if you record yourself on your phone and you send it in, the engineers will have everything they need to produce the recording that you're taking part in. So, dear friends, thank you so much for that. I hope you're looking forward to it. Dorothy's saying, so the sledgehammer is next week. Exactly. Next week, I'm going to show you what happens when I get a whole load of recordings, and we will take a very, very rough diamond and we will polish it to a high shine. All right, everyone? Nikki was saying, I thought Ben was going to say now there will be a test. No tests, none at all. It's got to be fun, and I hope you folks have fun. Remember, play. All right, have fun, play. And I will see you on Friday when we have our wonderful Fun Friday to look forward to. Lots more singing, and of course we'll be starting our recordings in 2 weeks' time. And hopefully you'll all be feeling good and confident to take part in that. So I will see you very soon. Those in self-isolation choir, we've got a rehearsal this evening. But otherwise, home choir, I'll see you on Friday for Fun Friday. Take care, folks. Have a good day. Bye bye.